Hello, everyone, and welcome to EVTN News. This is your source for Catholic news, and um, I guess I could say until recently was your source for Francis news, but um, I don't think he'll be mentioned a whole lot today. So there you go. You get a short break until he does something ridiculous again. But in recent days, it seems as though my video clip of McElroy basically undermining pro-life has made its rounds, and people are seeing what McElroy said in his own words, which is really bad. But for them, they're waking up to reality. Today is going to be all about politics, in a sense. Sorta. Okay, so the Department of Homeland Security under President Trump this week rescinded Biden-era guidelines that previously required Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE is the acronym, agents to seek their superiors' approval before arresting people at or near sensitive locations such as churches, hospitals, or schools. So this was a practice, and now the churches are not going to be known as safe spaces. So the USCCB decided to fire back. And they said, in response to this week's executive order signed by President Trump, Archbishop Timothy Broglio, president of the USCCB, offered the following statement. I'm going to go over this. I'm going to go over this paragraph. He said, many of the issues President Trump addresses in his recent executive orders, along with what may be issued in the coming days, are matters on which the Church has much to offer. Some provisions contained in the executive orders, such as those focused on the treatment of immigrants and refugees, foreign aid, expansion of the death penalty, and the environment, are deeply troubling and will have negative consequences, many of which will harm the most vulnerable among us. That's okay. Other provisions in the executive orders can be seen in a more positive light, such as recognizing the truth about each person as male or female. So, capital punishment. Opposition to capital punishment is a new Francis doctrine, but as for the Catholic Church, it has always viewed capital punishment as permissible. Okay, immigrants and refugees. There's never really been a Catholic approach to that. You have a right to defend your borders. That's basically just natural law in a sense. You have a right to defend your borders, so that says Broglio, pushes that as negative. Foreign aid. The U.S. runs a significant deficit every year. So cutting out foreign aid would reduce the deficit. Let those countries go into debt. And then the environment. So what are we talking about with the environment? Are you talking about the radical leftist nonsense that Francis is spewing? Or are you talking about just being reasonable, trying not to harm the environment as as badly as you could, maybe trying to make for a better, less pollution. Reducing pollution is always a very noble goal, I guess. But how it just seems like he's trying to pander to Francis and Francis's newly invented theology with pretty much all of this, honestly. Most of this isn't even Catholic, and he should be staying out of politics in that regard. But what I don't see here is support for pro-life. It doesn't even mention pro-life. He said, deeply troubling and will have negative consequences, many of which will harm the most vulnerable among us. But you know what harmed the most vulnerable among us was the slaughter of the unborn, which Biden aggressively promoted, and the bishops said that, or the USCCB wanted, like they made an attempt to act against Biden, and Supich undermined it along with many other bishops in the United States, and so they basically said, we're not going to deny him communion, and that was that. And speaking of Biden, one day before Donald Trump was inaugurated as president, Joe Biden attended a private ceremony in South Carolina to become part of the Prince Hall Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of the state of South Carolina. As noted by the Freemasons in a ceremony on January 19th, Master Mason membership with full honors were conferred upon President Joe Biden. That was the quote, not my words. In recognition of his outstanding service to the United States of America. So this, I mean, again, this isn't my word. I'm just reading what the statement said. But yes, the previous resident of the White House, Biden, received Master Mason membership. The Catholic Church has consistently and firmly forbidden Catholics from joining the Freemasons. Pope Clement XII's 1739 papal bull in Eminenti judged Freemasonry so serious as a matter and membership in it so dangerous that he imposed an automatic excommunication latates intensi on any Catholic who joined the Freemasons. And, you know, we're talking about the New Francis doctrines, though. Does this really even apply? Does it really apply in the Francis Church? And, of course, many commented that Biden's diminished mental capacity may excuse him from any canonical penalties. McCarrick, I guess, got off in a legal sense, and, you know, in regards to any legal punishment because of his diminished mental capacity, and same with, I believe, Biden in this case. I do believe the last 4 years, his mental capacity was diminished enough to excuse him from a lot of things. So there is that. Okay. So Cardinal Kissy Fernandez was asked if there is any urgency to resolve the Rupnik case, which has been criticized for its lengthy delay. He replied, I think of many other cases, including others that are worse but less publicized. We cannot think of a new law or for just one case, because that would limit the vision and harm the work's objectivity. With regards to the Rupnik case, the dicastery finished the stage of gathering information, which was in very different places, and conducted a first analysis. Now we are working to constitute an independent tribunal that goes to the last stage through penal judicial procedure, he added. But this is his response. I think of many other cases, including others that are worse but less publicized. So, there's worse cases. So this isn't a high priority. Meanwhile, Francis has several Rupnik paintings in his apartment that he lives in. So there's that. So no wonder it's not a priority. Okay. And please pray for Bishop Williamson, formerly Bishop of the SSPX. He's 84 years old. He suffered a brain hemorrhage and was taken to the hospital on January 24th, and the recent updates are not very positive. So, unfortunately, it seems like he's not going to be around for much longer, very much unfortunately. Okay, so I want to talk about this J.D. Vance interview. And he was asked about the USCCB. He said that as a practicing Catholic, he was heartbroken by the USCCB's criticism. He said, and I think the USCCB needs to actually look in the mirror a little bit and recognize that when they receive over $100 million to help resettle illegal immigrants, are they worried about humanitarian concerns, or are they actually worried about their bottom line? We're going to enforce immigration law. We're going to protect the American people. And that's actually, this is what I've been saying for years, and I'm so glad that Vance has spoken up on this. Now, Catholic Charities USA receives over $1 billion from the U.S. government every year. So $100 million is actually just the USCCB itself, not the groups that it works with. But it's a $1 billion industry, and if that goes away, then the Catholics have to focus on Catholic things like pro-life. So yeah, this is a real, what would you say, a real tipping point for the USCCB. They've touched a nerve because they went after the golden calf of the USCCB, which is immigration. USCCB pulls in crazy money. Catholic Relief Services, I believe half of their $1 billion revenue is derived from government grants, so about $500 million Catholic Relief Services receives, and that's not even touching on the Catholic Campaign for Human Development, which promotes many anti-Catholic things. I'm not talking about necessarily immigration, although I'm sure that's part of it, but they actually promote worse things than immigration. Asked if he believed USCCB the U.S. bishops are actively hiding criminals from law enforcement, Vance said that the USCCB has not been a good partner in common sense immigration enforcement that the American people voted for. And I hope, again, as a devout Catholic, that they'll do better. That's incredible. All right. They've not been a good partner in common sense immigration. So this is great. You know, Biden never really pushed back against U.S. bishops. It's because Gregory was the Archbishop of Washington at that time, and Gregory probably voted for Biden. I mean, he was certainly extremely critical of Trump. So we didn't have that same criticism. I mean, he called Biden a cafeteria Catholic. Oh boy, wow. Yeah, but he strongly criticized Trump, who wasn't even Catholic. Isn't even Catholic, so yeah. And Gregory's part of the Bernardine network, and Bernardine invented the seamless garment idea that that you should de-emphasize pro-life for other less important issues, but more important to the communists. And you know, Biden had a men's chorus, a rainbow men's chorus sing. He requested that a rainbow men's chorus sing at his funeral. He requested that. Bernardine, Cardinal Bernardine of Chicago. And the USCCB has some kind of initiative. I think it's some kind of award named after Bernardine. Um, Bernardine also was instrumental in receiving the Vatican's permission for communion in the hand in the United States. He rigged the vote, or he didn't rig the vote because he didn't get the votes that he wanted, and so he faked the vote to make it a majority, um, or to get the number that he needed. So there were bishops that weren't at the vote; they were not at the, they were not present for the vote, and so he wrote in their votes and added it up to, and it added up to the votes that he needed. So Bernardine was just a very evil man, very much on the communist side of things. And Gregory is from that network. So lots of politics today. I don't usually get into politics. I expect there might be a little bit more pushback, but it's going to take a while for the USCCB to feel the reduction in funds. They know it's coming, though, and they know they'll have some tough decisions to make in terms of cutting staff and in terms of cutting back on other expenses. So that's going to be it's going to be a difficult spot that they're going to be in. They'll find themselves in a very difficult spot. But that's that. And this has been my news for EVTN News for the week. And until next time, thank you so much for watching. This has been EVTN News. We are the laity, and we will not be silent.